When was the last time you actually used sim racing as a learning tool? It's one of the justifications many of us put behind all of this. It's gonna make me a better driver, but you've gotta do your homework, and I had one of these moments the other day and I thought I would share it with all of you. It's painful sometimes to go relive your mistakes, but there's always something you can learn from it, and I definitely did in this situation. So let me paint you a picture. I was racing in the HSO 1956 Monza 500-kilometer race. This is me driving the Ferrari 375. Now these things are lethargic, that might be the word. They don't like to do anything quickly. Accelerating is a test of patience and controlling wheel spin. Cornering, you're always on the edge of spinning out. But braking might be the most difficult part. It's a balance in using that engine and downshifting aggressively to get the engine braking to help slow the car down, because they just have big old drum brakes on them that overheat quite quickly and really don't help you that much. Once they overheat, you have nearly no stopping power. Luckily, Monza Historic has very few slow corners and hard braking zones. But the Parabolica, that's one exception. Beautiful corner. And so here's what happened. Lap 19 of 50. Fuel is burning off and the car is getting light. We're about 5 laps from a pit stop, and I've been in a crazy battle with Montes, Peter, and Larry is right behind us. The 4 of us have been swapping position the last dozen laps. We're having a great time. But coming down into the Parabolica, well, just watch.
I didn't really get my foot on the brake pedal right that time. Montes locks him up as well. Oh, no. It's 100% my fault.
It's embarrassing, honestly, but luckily Larry was able to avoid it, and although I careened into Montes and Peter, we were all able to quickly kind of jump back onto the circuit and resume our race, I think mostly unaffected. So what happened here? I'll tell you, in my brain at the time and just remembering the incident, I felt like I just missed the braking zone. So my guess is I was maybe just forgetting to look at the braking markers, looking at chat or something like that. I missed the braking zone, and once you get these cars going, you really can't slow them down any quicker. So I just slammed on the brakes, locked things up, and slid into these guys. It's something I think we've all done before, and I would have just thought, okay, I gotta watch those braking markers better and try to avoid that in the future. But that's what I thought happened, and if I hadn't actually reviewed this, I wouldn't have truly learned something. So let this be the lesson to you. So let's watch this corner from a lap in qualifying. This is how it's supposed to go. I'm coming down to the Parabolica, I'm watching for the braking markers on the right side. Here's the 300. That's my cue to jump off the throttle and hard on the brakes. I'm a bit aggressive with it here in quali. I immediately downshift and blip the throttle to get the engine braking going. Once I get to the 100 marker, get it down into second gear, just in time for the engine to get the car slow enough to meet the apex. Now I'm stabbing at the brakes here a little extra just to get it down to the apex, but there you go. Coming out of the corner, it was aggressive, but it was qualifying. That's a solid braking for the Parabolica. So what happened in the race? Back to 19 laps to go. Coming into the braking zone, and I'm up a few miles an hour because of the slipstream, but here we come to the 300 and wham, right on the brakes right away. So I didn't actually miss the braking zone here like I thought. I actually hit it quite well. If anything, I'm a bit earlier than I was in qualifying, which would make sense given the speed and that I'm in a pack of other cars. But look at my feet here. There it is. I get on the brakes right away and hard. You can see it in the braking trace here. But what's that? As well as getting on the brakes and blipping the throttle, I never quite get off of the throttle. Looking at the footage, my foot's not completely on the brake pedal. It's a little bit on the accelerator as well. And I'm resting it there on the throttle. So as I apply the brakes, I also apply a little bit of throttle with the car. Not much, but just enough to make it slow down, not as quickly as I think it should. And so I start to panic. I'm pressing the brakes harder, right on the verge of a lockup. But because of my foot placement, I'm also pushing the throttle, increasing the distance it's going to take me to slow down. And well, you can see the rest from there.
Oh, no. It's 100% my fault. It'd take out all of us.
I had no idea I was pushing the accelerator and braking, nor did anybody watching ever bring it up. But in going back to watch this race, I was actually doing it quite a lot on a lot of the laps. Almost all of the laps, I had a little bit of throttle in the braking zone. I don't know if it was fatigue or a little bit of laziness, but as the race went on, I'm not properly lifting my foot off the accelerator, and I was continuing on the throttle, maybe even just like 10% into the corner. On most laps, it didn't affect me too much, maybe just a couple tenths overall in lap time I could have improved. But on this lap, being so packed up, being in the slipstream maybe a little bit faster, it was disastrous. Still 100% my mistake, but for a completely different reason than I had thought. So it's important to go back and look at your mistakes, no matter how painful it is to watch yourself mess up, but especially when it results in hurting somebody else's race. You gotta learn what you did wrong. I think it's one of the greatest uses for all this stuff and practicing and getting better at being a driver is realizing when you made an error, figuring out exactly why, and then correcting that. I'm happy it didn't end up affecting the race that much. I think all 4 of us kept going just fine, and it ended up being a pretty good race overall. You can catch the replay if you'd like. But yeah, it was a great opportunity to learn and something I want to start doing a little bit more myself, and thought I'd share it with all of you. So if you have any of these type of things that you've learned from yourself, I'd be curious in hearing about that. Times where you thought maybe you were doing something, but you were actually doing something different. Watching yourself back can reveal a lot of things you maybe didn't notice in the heat of the moment. So I'm off to practice my heel and toe a bit more. Maybe I'll move my pedals apart or something, just so I make sure I don't overlap too much. I don't know. So something a little bit different, but I thought it was interesting, and so hopefully you will too. Remember to review your mistakes. This is GP Laps, and I'll see you all again next time.